1961, ordinary people were placed in a room and told to press a button that they believed could kill another human being. No weapons, no threats, just a man in a lab coat calmly saying 4 words. The experiment must continue. And here's the terrifying part. 65% of them did it anyway. Not criminals, not psychopaths. Teachers, nurses, engineers. People just like you and me. This is the story of the Milgram experiment. The study that proved something about human nature so disturbing that scientists are still trying to explain it today. If you've ever wondered, would I have said no? Stay until the end, because the answer might scare you. Before we dive in, hit subscribe, because this channel breaks down the darkest psychology experiments in history, the ones they don't teach you in school, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. It's 1961. The world is still trying to make sense of one of history's darkest questions. Just months earlier, Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann sat on trial in Jerusalem. His defense? I was just following orders. A young psychologist at Yale University named Stanley Milgram couldn't stop thinking about that excuse. He wanted to know, was Eichmann a monster? Or was he ordinary? Could regular Americans, regular people sitting in this very room with you right now, do the same thing if someone in a position of authority told them to? So Milgram designed an experiment. And what happened next would go on to shock the entire field of psychology.
Here's how it worked. Participants were told they were taking part in a study about memory and learning. Simple enough, right? Each participant was assigned the role of teacher. Another person, who they believed was also a volunteer, was the learner. But here's the twist. The learner was actually an actor working for Milgram. The real experiment had nothing to do with memory at all. The teacher's job was to read word pairs to the learner, sitting in another room, hooked up to electrodes. Every time the learner got an answer wrong, the teacher had to deliver an electric shock. And each wrong answer meant the voltage went up. 15 volts, 30 volts, 75, 150, all the way up to a terrifying 450 volts, a level clearly labeled on the machine as danger, severe shock. The shocks weren't real. The learner was acting, but the teacher didn't know that. As the voltage climbed, the learner would scream in pain, beg to be let out, complain about a heart condition, and eventually go completely silent. Silent, like something terrible had just happened. And in the room, standing beside the teacher the entire time, was a man in a gray lab coat, the authority figure. Whenever the teacher hesitated, he'd calmly say one of 4 scripted phrases. Please continue. The experiment requires that you continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no other choice. You must go on. No threats, no punishment, just quiet, calm authority. Before the experiment, Milgram asked psychiatrists to predict the outcome. Their answer? They believed only about 1 in 1,000 people, the truly disturbed, would go all the way to 450 volts. They were catastrophically wrong. 65% of participants, nearly 2 out of every 3 ordinary people, went all the way to the maximum voltage. Not because they wanted to. Many of them were visibly distressed, sweating, shaking, laughing nervously out of sheer panic, begging the experimenter to let them stop. But when a calm voice in a lab coat told them to continue, most of them did. One participant,
A 47-year-old engineer was recorded saying, "I know it sounds crazy, but I just felt like I had to keep going once he told me to." This wasn't about cruelty. It was about something far more unsettling. How easily ordinary, decent people will hand over their moral responsibility to someone else simply because that person appears to be in charge. This is where the story becomes bigger than one experiment in a Yale basement. Milgram called this phenomenon the agentic state, the idea that when we believe we're acting under someone else's authority, we stop seeing ourselves as responsible for our own actions. We become an instrument, an extension of someone else's will. Think about how many real-world horrors this explains. Genocides, war crimes, corporate scandals where employees followed unethical orders because that's what the boss wanted. Even smaller, everyday moments, going along with a decision at work you know is wrong because it's not my call. The Milgram experiment didn't just study obedience. It exposed a switch that exists inside all of us, a switch that authority can flip, often without us even realizing it's happening. And the most disturbing part? Multiple replications of this experiment, even decades later, even in different countries, have found strikingly similar results. This isn't a 1960s problem. It's a human problem. Of course, the experiment wasn't without controversy. Participants were deceived. Many left the lab visibly shaken, some believing they may have seriously harmed or even killed another person. Critics argued the psychological distress caused was a serious ethical violation. This controversy is actually one of the reasons modern psychology has strict ethical guidelines today. In many ways, the backlash to Milgram's methods shaped how every psychological study is conducted now. So the experiment didn't just reveal something about obedience, it also changed the rules of science itself. So here's the real question Milgram leaves us with. If you were in that room in 1961 with a calm voice telling you to keep pressing the button, would you have stopped? Or would you have kept going? Most people are certain they'd say no. But statistically, the odds say otherwise. Drop a comment below and tell me honestly, at what voltage do you think you would have stopped? If this video made you think differently about human behavior, hit subscribe. This channel is all about the psychology experiments that reveal the darkest, most fascinating truths about the human mind. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.